stream. Welcome, my friend. What are we doing?
What's up, buddy? Good.
We bring our sniper, Sheldon.
What's up?
Sniper.
What's up?
Sniper, how are you?
What's up? I'm doing well, and you? What's up, guys? What's up, buddy?
Sniper, how are you, brother?
What's up, buddy? I'm good, and you? Sorry. What's up, guys? What's up? What's up?
Hey, Sniper, how are you?
What's up, buddy? I'm good. I'm very happy today.
Sniper, how are you, my friend?
Wow. What's up, buddy? What's up, everyone?
So good to be here for the. It's so good to be here for the early show. Even though, man, I had to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to be here. You can see I'm tired, man. It's still dark.
Dedication, buddy. Dedication, and we appreciate it, buddy. We appreciate it. We love having you back.
How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I think I'm feeling a little bit better today with this this confirmation that is this it? Is Bitcoin finally doing what we needed to do?
I mean,
so,
you know, yesterday you were asleep and I was still awake, and I thought to myself, I wish you were awake, because Bitcoin broke through 37,000, like you said. And then I was like, you know, is Sheldon going to tell me to wait for a pullback, or should I actually be buying this breakout? But it was like 4 o'clock in the morning your time, so I didn't actually want to wake you up, buddy. Is this it? Is this the breakthrough, and now we're going all the way up, or should we expect a pull down? I guess that is what we're going to be discussing here today, right?
of course, we've got a lot to chat about.
Amazing. So listen, guys, if you are new to the channel, welcome. Smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. Join the most profitable community in the entire interwebs, as BitBoy Crypto would say. There are many reasons for you to join our community. The first reason for you to join our community, Sheldon, what's the first reason for them to join the community?
There's actually so many, but firstly, obviously, is the content every day of us two bringing two different strategies to the damn market. Two of the only strategies, and I think it's suiting all different types of people out there. So that's obviously reason one. I think you can do reason two, and I'll go reason three.
Yes. Talking about different strategies, yesterday after my rant that the crypto market is actually very spoiled, right? And that the fact that they've only had a 2.5x on Ethereum and a 3 or 4x on Solana in the last 90 days after the crash, and everybody's calling a bear market now, just shows how ungrateful and how much perspective we've lost. But a lot of people commented and said, you know, why are you shouting at Sheldon? Bro, did I shout at you yesterday?
Nah, I think we were in great debate. We're passionate for what we do.
Yeah, we love it.
You know what I mean? We love it. And it's good to always have the two views. It's brilliant.
Yeah. All right, so reasons to join the channel. Well, one is, guess what? So banter bags, we are going to be giving away a new banter bags. The banter bags is when we take $10,000, we invest it in pre-market allocations. When we get to 500,000 subscribers, we're going to give the bags to the community. We haven't decided how many winners they're going to be this time, but it's going to be bigger than the last one, that's for sure, because we want to give as much as we can away to the community. Next reason for you to join our community, the best community, the most passionate community in all the interwebs, is a backstage pass. So if you want to join our show backstage, we now have a solution for you. You can actually join our show backstage. It's free. All you need to do, you need to be a member of our community. You need to like, you need to subscribe. And then you may be able to get one of our free daily backstage passes. Yeah, we're going to have people backstage here every single day. Yeah. And then, of course, Sniper School. Tell them about Sniper School, Sheldon. In fact, don't tell them. Let's show them, bro. Let's show them Sniper School. Hold on.
What's up? What's up? There's everyone. What's up? Yeah. You got no one to kick your butt. And I think that's what's important about also doing today is for the first time, like creating this community to kick each other's butts.
Don't spend some of it.
Now we've just made $5,000. All of a sudden, Elon tweets and tomorrow the $5,000 is gone. Identify the sort of trader that you want to be. Secondly, you need to know.
So that is Sniper School. And if you want in on Sniper School, what do you need to do, Sheldino?
Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Follow myself, Sheldon_Sniper. Follow Ran, Crypto Man Ran on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. Show us some love. Like the videos. Yeah, I think that's more or less it. All
right, well then let's get straight into it. I mean, there's lots and lots of FUD going on. And remember what I said to you yesterday? I said, if there's FUD going on and the price still goes up, then that's confirmation for me that we are in a bull market, right? And I want you to hear this, and hope this is the right.
Cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin are terrible for the environment. And that would be true regardless of whether we were getting anything productive out of that energy usage or not. The fact that we're not makes it even more scandalous. One of the easiest and least disruptive things we can do to address the climate crisis is crack down on environmentally wasteful cryptocurrencies, and now is the time to do it.
So the US is scared. I mean, if you look at Elizabeth Warren, they are scared. I mean, after what they saw with El Salvador, and there's many, many, many implications of what happened in El Salvador. The US is scared, bro. They are scared, scared, scared. Today we're going to be talking about that on my show. Let's look at the charts because this is a charting show.
You know what's awesome, man, is for the first time, and I think that's what's been the tricky part in the market for the last 2-3 weeks, is finally the prices to reacting to this good news. Where I think the last 2-3 times there's been some good news that's come out in the market and the price was just not reacting. And I think that's where the bigger sort of nerviness came from a lot of people in the market. And it was quite tricky at specific times until you actually think back. You know, the bulls, the what do you call it? The big institutions are so bullish in this market right now. This is where they want to be buying. They want to be buying on these damn lows. So it sort of makes sense that everything's bullish, but the price wasn't reacting. It means because they haven't bought what they wanted to buy just yet. And now for the first time, we are getting a really strong impulse wave, which we haven't gotten for a while. We haven't got this strong push off news for the first time in a while. And I think it's starting to now get into people's heads where, yes, the FUD's there and everything's there, but you know, these people don't all control the market. They don't all, yes, it has effect, but it is going to start fading. And I think that was the main thing that they did need for a little while, was the retail to be fearful. Remember, and I think it's a big thing today, Rand, if we can also go through on the later show, is the miners are accumulating, the miners are not selling, which means the supply is no more there for them. So where are they going to get their Bitcoin from? From the retail. That's the only way they're going to get their Bitcoin right now, because the miners are not selling. So that's where, so it makes sense that they have to continuously feed this little bit of fear at times, because how else are they going to buy their Bitcoin? They need to buy Bitcoin from someone. And we definitely know the big guys, a lot of guys are not selling their damn Bitcoin. Rand, you're not selling your Bitcoin. You know what I mean? I'm not selling my Bitcoin or anything. So it makes sense why we've had this sort of tough area. And I think the big part of it is to understand that, guys, we've just come from one of the biggest drops in Bitcoin's history, value-wise, money-wise. It is the biggest one ever. And we knew that this stage was not going to happen just quick. It couldn't. We needed this exact calm down. Remember that that emotion cycle, guys. It is playing out beautifully in that way to show us exactly that we needed this to happen. And this is a tricky area. This is a tough area because it's going to create confusion. It's going to have, and until you actually paint the picture, and I'm not sure what you're thinking of it, Rand, but the whales needed to buy from someone. They had to make this difficult. And they needed to buy from the retail. So the news wasn't working a week ago where bullish news was coming out and the price was dumping. I think that's where the big, but now you actually start to put it together. And I'd love your thoughts on it, Rand. What you thinking from the retail?
So I'll give you a lot of thoughts on it, but I can't give you thoughts when there are only 4,700 likes and 12,000 people watching the stream. It just doesn't feel right to give you.
No, I agree.
It doesn't feel. Come on, guys. I woke up at 4:30 in the morning to be here. It's still dark outside. Smash that like button. Let's go. You said a lot there. But the main thing that I see when I look at this is I see that we need to get to higher high. So we need to break the 39,500. That would be confirmation of a higher high. Right now, even though we've broken out of this channel, it does look like we're still in a downward trend. So unless we get that 39,482 or close above that, then I would say that we're still in this downward channel and we're heading towards it.
It just shows a little bit of caution, you know what I mean, to still just keep a little bit, because remember last week we had the breakout of that one. And what happened on that breakout? We can see it there. The fact that higher high. So brilliantly said, right? I'm proud of you for you know what I mean, understanding that it's just, we don't need to, we need to sit in this market and stop thinking that it's just going to run away and everything. This is the most patient part of the cycle that you need to be in. That once we got the higher high, we are going to have a small retest. But that is the confirmation. That is the one that we are. You remember, we're just at this stage now. The market is, and it's finding its way. We can't choose it. We can't change it. We can't do anything. But we need that. We need that higher high. And that will be the first higher high since this whole dump has actually happened on high time frames.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I think for me the confirmation would be the higher high, but the good thing is that we're moving upwards, and we're moving upwards in straight green candles. So if you look at if you zoom in and you look at that, it's just a series of green candles, which means that the momentum is back. There's a much more momentum in the market. We haven't seen that for a while. We haven't seen green for a long time now, and that for me shows that the sentiment is turning.
And have a look here, Ran. Sorry, just before you carry on there. You see when we previously made these jumps up and we attempted to go up, do you see how that volume absolutely did zero? And look how for the first time now we are trailing up and we're actually getting a bit of volume. So that is another good, really good sign that's coming up.
It's what I said yesterday. I think that there's a volcano of good news underneath. And you know that what happens is this volcano gets up more and more pressure underneath it of news and good news and good news and good news. And then eventually it just pops, you know, with a couple of days. And I tweeted this not because I think it'll happen, but because it can happen. In this market moves quicker than any other market, partially because it's open 24 hours a day, but partially because it's just a much more illiquid and much smaller market. And what happens in crypto is we go from 35 to 40, we get one more green candle to 45, the FOMO comes in, everybody jumps into the market, and before you know it, you're back at 60,000. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm just saying, because things move so fast in crypto, it is definitely a scenario that we've got to be ready for.
And your opinion, do you think that all the big guys are in? Do you think they managed to get all their buys in? Do you think because that's the only reason they'll send the price down to those levels again is if they're not in. You know what I mean? If the bigger guys have not bought what they need to buy.
I don't know what else they can throw at us. I mean, what else can you throw at us? An ex-president says Bitcoin is a scam and they should buy the dollar. People in the Senate right now calling Bitcoin an absolute, saying that Bitcoin must be highly regulated. China banning Bitcoin. You know, what else? What else can you throw at us? Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, bringing in the ESG fund. All right. What else have you got to throw at us? Throw it. I just think that no more bad news is going to move the market down. I just can't imagine what news they're going to throw at us that's going to make a difference to the market right now.
And you know what, I think, Ren, I know it was been a difficult last 2 weeks, but aren't you happy that it did actually happen in this way? Because it's starting to get the confidence back that, you know what, screw these guys and what they're saying. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that believe in this, and there's a lot of big guys that believe in this. And we got to keep strong on our belief and why we got into crypto in the first place, and not allow these other guys to ruin our passion for what we do and why we actually started this.
So look, I still think, I mean, I'm looking for an article now, which is an article about a fund called Rafa. Rafa is a fund that made $1.1 billion in profits trading Bitcoin in the last 5 months. I think it was about 5 months. So they were one of the first funds that bought Bitcoin, and then they sold it and they made a $1.1 billion profit. And when they were asked why they sold, they said, because the market was too frothy, which I agree. The market was too frothy. And then they were asked, what made you think that the market was too frothy? And they said, when Dogecoin hit a market cap of $40 billion, then we thought that this market was too frothy, and they sold and they made $1.1 billion in profit. So, you know, I mean, you know, Dogecoin is still at $40 billion market cap. And the question is the market still a little bit frothy? I think what people forget, Sheldon, is that 3 months ago, 90 days ago, in fact, maybe you can call up total market cap from 90 days ago.
Yeah, let's have a look there. There we go. Go back. Cool. So if I clear up here for us, there we go. Okay, so where are you looking at? March. Yeah, we're getting a March. We're still really good ahead, at least 20-30% above from March, even after this huge correction.
Let's go
say again?
Let's go 4 months.
Well, let's take it from from February. Take it from the beginning of Feb. You know what I mean? We're still looking from this region 70% up. And that's huge.
70% up after a correction.
That's $700 billion.
After a correction.
After a massive correction, yeah.
Okay. What happens if we didn't have the correction? What was the top? So it was 100, 200.
No, it was huge. Yeah, it was huge. So if we have a look from there to up to the top there, 163%. That's big. It was $1.5 trillion.
People have just lost perspective. I think that's the problem. People lost perspective. We went too fast, too quickly. Which market in the world can go up 140%? what people were expecting is the market to carry on going up 140% every 3 months. And that's absolutely insane. It's not going to happen. I feel like it's a healthy market now. I feel like it's a healthy market. Why?
This was good, Ran. But think about it. Now the big guys are saying this shit's real. Look how big this thing got in a matter of 6 months. It's we got to get in, or otherwise we are toast. We are literally behind. And it was good for it because it's showing potential every time. Guys, Bitcoin went from 20,000, that was the highest of 2000s, and we went to $60,000 in 6 months. You can't show me that woke the whole damn world up to say we need to know about this. We need to understand this.
Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at your chart here now. Look at the little accumulation phase. You see what we're accumulating. When was the last time that Bitcoin accumulated? Go back. There it is. Look. It is in March.
Oh, it was huge. So there was a lot of small accumulations in between that obviously ended the result. But remember what we did say about this, that this made that.
Okay, now,
we could see it very clear.
Just zoom in.
Yeah.
Zoom in. Okay, now go to March. Sorry, February. Sorry, February. Okay.
Go to Feb. Here we go. There's accumulation there.
There's the accumulation. Look at that accumulation pattern and look at the accumulation pattern that we've got now. Compare the two.
Well, that looks very similar. And I think I can actually do it in this way. So if I go there and I measure up that piece to that piece, take it up to that region. Pretty damn close. Pretty damn close.
Look what happened after that. Look what happened after that.
Acceleration. There we go. And I think that's the key thing. Now, that's what we're tracking now, and we take that into perspective. That was the breakout there. And if we look at where we're sitting now, this is what we're waiting for. This is the true significant sign to say that, we get into that point. And we just knew it was going to take a little bit of time here. This is where the whales are buying, guys. This is where the big guys are buying. And it's always going to be difficult for the retail to compete against them at this stage. They're going to confuse you. But at least, and I think you can agree with me, Rand, that we are actually looking at the market and getting into this market, even if we're in from the highs, at the right time for the first time. Because we've all been taught, and we always understand that a lot of people, they get into the market when Bitcoin's already done 200%. You getting into the market now when Bitcoin's just come off a 60% or 50% pullback. And it's a very different cycle that, yes, it takes a little bit of time, but for the first time, you're actually learning and entering at the right time in the market.
My biggest reason right now for being confident, and I wasn't as confident in the market as I am now. There were a couple of days where I said, hold on, guys, let's prepare just in case something happens. But for me, there's one thing. When I saw one thing, and I'm trying to find it for you on one of the other screens here, but there was one thing that I saw, and when I saw this, I was all in again. And it is, I'm going to try and find it for you.
Got it on the screen.
Freddie. Hello, Freddie.
Hi. What's up, buddy?
What's up, buddy? Here we go. I found it.
Amazing. Okay, so that's one of them, but I actually want to show this one first. So when you have a model that is back-tested 11 years, and the model tells the model's never broken down to the downside. You can see the model's never broken down to the downside. And the model is at an all-time low. And every time it's done that, you can see the model has gone up and up and up. That for me was the turning point. And I thought, what, we're all just panicking. I don't think that this model is going to be wrong for the first time in 11 years. And if it is, exactly as Plan B, who was the founder of the stock to flow model, says, he says it could be for just a couple of weeks or days, but it can't be broken for months, right? So I think he said somewhere here, he said, look, he said that basically the model can't be broken for a number of months. And that was for me the big buying point. The other thing is when you look at that stock to flow model, and then you look at the deviation from the stock to flow deflection. In other words, how far is the price from where it's supposed to be on stock to flow? This is the biggest that it's been.
That's huge.
2017. Right?
Sure. Yeah, no, that's huge.
And the stock market is healthy. It's unhealthy, but it's at highs.
The printing machines are on. They're rolling. They're going to try to delay this as long as possible.
So for me, I've basically said, look, I'm breaking away from the panic. I'm breaking away from the fear. And I'm not being irresponsible, but all the money that I have dedicated to crypto, I'm now all in. There's no more. Cash meter, zero. There's no more cash. My last big investment was Kusama, and I went all in on Kusama. I think I told you guys I'm going all in on Kusama, Solana, and that's it. I'm all in now. That's it. I'm riding the roller coaster now. If it goes up, it goes up.
And that's the power of both. You know what I mean? In the last 2 weeks, we've learned both. We've learned bearish scenario and bullish scenario. We've got two skill sets, and you need both of them in this market. so it's brilliant to have gone through that.
Yeah. Speaking of Kusama, let's look at Kusama. We've looked at, in fact, before we go to Kusama, let's look at Domino.
I think let's quickly just pack up here. Well, let's get a good understanding on Bitcoin, where we're thinking going up, where we're looking to get back in, obviously on the confirmation high. So we need to understand that this was going to take a little bit of time, guys. Cool. So we are going to be a little bit more patient. We need, the fundamentals are there. The last thing we need now is the chart. We need this as well to just give us that last little kick so that we know and we're on strong, because I do know that there is a 200-day moving average. I do know that this cross of death is coming at some point. And for me, it means nothing with moving averages, but I know that has a little effect on the market. You know, that little cross of death that they're talking about, I think it's with the 200 and the 50. It's looking like it will happen at any point. It looks like it's going to happen the next day, unless Bitcoin gets to 46 or 42, anywhere in these sort of regions. Then it can maybe dodge. So we know that there's little things in between. Now, what we need from the market, guys, what we need from Bitcoin is that higher high. You know, 40K. I need Bitcoin to go to 40K. We're going to have that small retest, and I'm going to be laddering back in strong in the market and getting 100% in, setting way regional, much higher time frame, bigger stop losses just for any major crashes in the market. But we're gonna now start, remember what we did the last few days, we started scoping in. We started pulling in 3%, very minimal risk stop losses, because it was make or break situations. If Bitcoin didn't hold that level, it could have went a lot lower. So we had to learn to do that. But now that we're starting to show bullish momentum, we can start expanding that again now. And we can start giving it the room that it needs to do, because the market is going to always flow in that movement. So what we're needing now is, I do have two different trends, and the one's taking me to that zone and the one's taking me back to these zones. So what I've basically done is, I just want this higher high today. Today, tomorrow, we need to get this higher high. To show you guys, looking at RSIs, 4 hour, it's just crossed for a little bit more upward side. 8 hour to the top, we are getting to the top. So it's showing us that a shorter term pullback tomorrow or any of these points, that's what we can expect. Every market's going to do that, always going to go up, go down a little bit. And that is going to be our danger snap, get the sniper back out and get that damn beautiful entry like we always do in these markets.
So we just had some breaking news that India may be declaring Bitcoin an asset class after all the India FUD. And after the news yesterday in El Salvador, there's just been some breaking news coming across the wires that India is declaring Bitcoin as an asset class. So more on that story in the show later today. More and more good news. And in the volcano, and now they're even talking about using volcanic energy to mine Bitcoin. You know,
it's beautiful.
What people don't understand about the story is that just El Salvador has enough volcanic energy to power all the Bitcoin mining in the world. Now, we wouldn't want all the Bitcoin mining in the world to go to El Salvador. But if Elon Musk has a problem with ESG or Bitcoin destroying the environment, just one country, just one volcano has enough to power all the Bitcoin mining in the world, and there's zero emissions. Zero emissions. So bring it on.
That's brilliant. So that's exactly it, guys. So what we need now, we've got beautiful, fundamental, positive news. Let's get that damn higher high. Come on, Bitcoin. Show us that so that we know there's the higher high, there's the test. There we go. Remember, we still have these. We've been waiting for this forever. Since this big pullback, we've been waiting this whole time, patiently. We have so much imbalance to the top area side. It makes sense for Bitcoin to have a really strong month at some point, or really strong. And that obviously can bring all the retail back in, bring all the FOMO back in, and actually turn this into a whole damn bull cycle again. And that's the power of where we're sitting right now. So we just needed that confirmation break. And we know that the higher time frame, you know, the monthly, still on its way. We can still have a turn at any point. But I want to show you what's good about the weekly, guys. Have a look at this weekly on Bitcoin.
Look at that.
Look how low it is coming. And a strong pump is coming. And now we've been through that. So first, just to quickly narrow it down, we just want to get to 40. Pull back from that. We are gunning in the market. decent strategized stop losses, and run to go. And I think the next thing that that's really important, and I want to do it tomorrow with you guys, is obviously with the portfolio as well. Remember, we've got two different people that are out there now. Guys that have more capital, or you just want to be a damn investor. You know, Rand bombs these fundamentals every single day. These are the coins to hold for the year. They are going to make you tremendous money. Remember, we've never turned bullish for the year for higher timeframes, anything like that. And for the guys that have small accounts, this is where we trade. We obviously make the capital, but then what your profits, whatever profit you make out of those trades, goes into your hodl. There's so many cool strategies that we use, and that's how we're going to start combining. We're just making sure that obviously the market is strong and bullish. So that's what we need from that. And to back that now is, look at this, Ran. Look how we're starting to get a real strong acceleration in dominance again. Now, if you don't mind just recapping there quickly, what is the market cycle? Bitcoin?
Major
Then major alts.
Bitcoin is
then the thing. So what's the first one? And what happened the first time when, before any of this downwards happened and we had the cycle? This little move over here is what took Bitcoin to $65,000. This move over here.
Exactly.
Bitcoin was selfish. The market was selfish to Bitcoin. And we got to understand that the market never repeats, but it always rhymes. What does Ruud always say in that way? And that's exactly that. At some point, Bitcoin is going to become selfish. It's going to become the main topic of crypto again, and the main one that everyone is absolutely, the focus is on there. Now, looking at that, looking at where Bitcoin dominance is now, and you can see how strong it's trailing up. Looking at Bitcoin, it's reacting. Have a look at the alts. They are not reacting.
We want
Have a look at any of them.
We want that.
It's showing us that, is that not a reset of cycle?
Exactly.
Remember, we go through cycles. So I'm glad we're actually painting the picture, and that's looking good. The only ones that are making the jumps are the ones with strong news. Right, this is where you're powerful, buddy. This is where you choose the ones off of understanding the damn market, that this is how the world is going to run.
Remember we said that when we saw the Bitcoin dominance diverging from that trend line, and we said, look, it's going down too quickly. It needs to correct. Go back to that trend line. Go back to the long-term trend line on the Bitcoin dominance. Yes. Remember we said it was breaking too far away from that trend line. It's got to come back towards the trend line. How does it come back towards the trend line? Usually it's via correction. This time the correction came and Bitcoin, we didn't get the dominance back. Now the dominance is coming back. I think that dominance needs to go back closer to the trend line. I mean, depending on when it happens, but around 50%. And then
have a look at this. That's 13%. You know what I mean? That's a big push for Bitcoin, especially if we can start getting some new flow. And that's where the fundamentals are powerful. They're going to bring new money back into the market. Right now, the retail is still very scared. But when Bitcoin breaks 40 and breaks 45, the retail are interested again. Everyone is back now, and it all becomes the big main topic. So that's painting a beautiful picture to understand that. And I think this is a big part that we need to on our side now as well. And same as well as you strategizing your portfolio. Like, I don't know about you, Ram, but I'm moving that meter of mine to like 50%, 60% of my portfolio is turning to a big part of Bitcoin. And the only reason being is if I compare and I have a look at any of these charts now to the, let's have a look there. There we go. Look how look at the Ethereum to Bitcoin. So last week we were getting different scenarios because Bitcoin news was coming out. Bitcoin just wasn't reacting. But now everything's about Bitcoin. Yeah,
I wouldn't do that. I'll tell you, I wouldn't go 50% into Bitcoin.
Cool.
I would right now look for the undervalued, super low, super high quality alts. Because I think it's obvious that Bitcoin is going to run. Like it's kind of obvious. And probably the safer strategy is to be in Bitcoin right now. And then what happens after it? We know that Ethereum's going to run. Again, I think Ethereum's got a run left in it. But for me, that's not the exciting run. The exciting run is things like Kusama, Polkadot. So just let's go to Kusama for 1 second. Okay. What happened to Kusama over there? The launch of parachains. The first parachains on Kusama are now launching. By the 22nd of June, we're going to have the first parachains on Kusama. Okay. Kusama has doubled. Actually tripled, sorry. Kusama has tripled since the low. Go to the low, the recent low, 10 days, 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so that's that 150%.
Okay, almost tripled.
It's nearly reversed. It's nearly reversed that whole damn correction.
What's going to happen when Polkadot launches parachains?
Yeah, it's going to explode.
Ah, okay, great. And then what's the first category under those parachain under the parachains that's going to explode? What? So first it's going to be the protocol, the Polkadot and Kusama. What's going to explode after that?
I think DeFi is going to go.
DeFi,
my opinion.
Exactly. DeFi on Kusama and DeFi on Polkadot. So who's going to explode? The DEXs, right? The Uniswaps, the Sushi swaps on Polkadot. Who are the DEXs on Polkadot? PolkaSwap, PolkaDex. Okay. What people are not understanding, and we're going to talk about this in one of my shows. You know how important a DEX is when you talk about a Uniswap on Ethereum or Sushi swap on Ethereum, right? It's super, super, super important, right? It's like the most important part. The only thing that is a non-protocol in the top 20 coins today, the only two things are the oracles and the DEXs, right? Chainlink
100%.
and Uniswap. Now,
100%.
Imagine a world where there's 100 chains, because there's 100 parachains. And each one of those parachains has its own assets on it, its own ERC20 assets on it. And you have a DEX which powers the trading of all these assets. Okay, it's basically like a DEX which connects 100 Ethereums and all the assets on Ethereum. For me, if I'm looking at what I'm going to start playing now, if I'm confident that Bitcoin is going to run, I'm not going to buy Bitcoin. I'm going to look one step forward. So, okay, what are the protocols that are currently undervalued? Polkadot, Cardano, Luna, we keep talking about these. And then
absolute specials.
Yeah, and then what is going to be the next level that runs? And it's the DEXs, okay? You cannot sleep on the DEXs. Right now, I would take 1% of my wealth, 1% of my crypto portfolio, 2% of my crypto portfolio, and I would take a bet on Polkadot DEXs. Who is going to win the DEX war on Polkadot? PolkaSwap, PolkaDex, a new one which we're going to bring you, Matrix Swap. It's very risky. It's very risky because we don't know who's going to win, but that is how I would be playing this market right now. Bitcoin is a safe option. Let the funds buy Bitcoin.
Yeah. So you know what I'm thinking, Ran, is Bitcoin and 3 to 5 of these major ones that are the main topics for the next month. You know what I mean? The ones that are really going to now push, like the DOT, the Kusamas, the Solanas. These are the ones I'm sort of getting that because, you know, end of the day, we remember that before we were trading BTC pairs and trading all these things. Right now, because Bitcoin can be so dominant to a lot of the alts, and we can see that today. For the last 3 days, Bitcoin's outperformed majority of the alts. There's only very minimal that did. 3 to 5 coins that actually outperformed Bitcoin the last thing, which means by being a nice portion of Bitcoin, you know, like you're saying, maybe not 50, maybe 30% in that thing, and the rest spread to the rest, 100%. But the power of understanding that if Bitcoin has a rally for 3 weeks, the amount of alts that you make by being in Bitcoin as well is huge. Remember that we got the USDT pairs. As soon as this damn cycle shows us that we're back in action, guys, we're going back to the damn pairs because we want to accumulate the coins that we want in general. But it just shows us that if Cardano, you know, Cardano has done beautiful things. It's absolutely pumped. But that BTC, the Cardano to BTC pairs shows that Bitcoin's going to have a little bit of rally against Cardano for a little while. And by being in Bitcoin, I'm actually automatically making a little bit of Cardano. So I think it's a powerful thing to say that. And I would love to know if you agree with me. Splitting between 5 great coins with Bitcoin for the next month. And remember, as an investor, you choose the right chains and you hold them for the next damn 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. That's where Randy's powerful with choosing these coins.
People don't understand how easy it is to make money here. Okay, you can take the complicated route. The complicated route is you buy a whole lot of shit coins and you go to bed every night hoping and praying that these things are going to do 5x. But then sometimes you wake up and they've halved or they've quartered or whatever else. The other strategy is so simple. Get out of US dollar. Your base currency is Bitcoin and Ethereum. Okay, so that's how we start. Okay, now you're out of US dollars, you're in Bitcoin and Ethereum. Then choose 3 or 4 or 5 of the most certain chains. It's so simple. Matic, Cardano, Solana, Kusama, Polkadot. And then choose the winning applications on those chains. DeFi, the Uniswaps, the AMMs on those chains. And then sit back and relax. Don't do anything. Okay, take 2% of your portfolio and mess around with tiny cap alts, and maybe that 2% will become 20% and maybe it won't. You don't need to do more than that. It's so simple. Don't overcomplicate it. It's so simple. It's so simple.
I agree. And I think let's do that quickly, Rand. So we know that the pull up now from Bitcoin. Okay, cool. Now, what's a big one now? Kusama, guys. Kusama. Massive break. You know what's brilliant about this is it finally got that imbalance. Great. So this is where we're stocking up. This is it.
Retest.
Exactly. So, you know, a small pullback anywhere, 440, 470 in that zone. Great. As an investment, as a trader, anything in that, this chart is showing us great power. And we're seeing that this coin is really starting to accelerate. They're launching, obviously the fundamentals are huge behind it. Everything's big. So this is a big one to be a part of that top 5 right now. Remember, every 2-3 months, it's going to change because the cycle changes. You know what I mean? At some point, it's going to be Ethereum to run and these things. And for now, it's Kusama and this one over here, Solana. Solana's another big one. To DOT. Let's get DOT in the house. Check out DOT's done absolutely zero.
Okay.
This is beautiful.
Okay, hold on. Put DOT and Kusama one above the other, however you do that.
Cool. Let's take that. And let's get there. Oh, getting used to it quite quick now. Okay, that one there and get that one on 4 hour. There we go. Okay, so
what do we see?
Let's clear, yeah. There we go. Okay, so we can see that there's the dip. Let me just make this one bigger.
Okay, stop.
There's them there.
Okay. Is that not exactly the same chart?
Very similar. This one's just quite a bit behind. This one's actually showing us that can be the future.
Okay. What is the only difference between DOT and Kusama?
No idea.
Kusama launched parachains. Kusama launched parachains, and DOT is going to launch parachains in 2 or 3 months. Right?
Awesome. Makes sense.
What's going to happen to DOT in 2 or 3 months?
Rocket time, baby. Rocket time.
You missed Kusama. Just chill. Catch DOT on the dips. In a month or 2 months or 3 months, the same thing is going to happen with DOT. It's so obvious. Safe ecosystem. I want to show you another tweet, which I think is an amazing.
Just before we get there, guys, you know, in this zone here, this is the perfect strategy where they say the buy the dip strategy is beautiful. You're getting these dips. You know, these are the buy the dip strategies. So that's going to range between the $18, $24 in that zone. Little push ups. Remember, they just get in Bitcoin right, so the whole market can damn turn bullish again. But these times are to come, and Kusama is a perfectly leading example of that. So DOT is a definite big one that we're adding up on that in our portfolio.
Okay, now Luna. Let's just quickly recap what Luna is. Okay,
this is a bargain, buddy. This is a huge bargain, eh?
Let's talk about it. Luna today is a stable coin protocol, which has the most adoption and usage of any protocol in the world anywhere other than Bitcoin and Ethereum. Okay, there are over 2 million people in Korea that use the Chai app. There are a whole lot of other stable coins on it. Now, what most people don't know is that there is an entire ecosystem being built on Luna. Pylon protocol, Anchor protocol, all these. Let me show you some more. Yota Savings, Orion Money, full disclosure, I am an investor in Orion Money, Angel Protocol, Alice Finance, Saturn Money, Tick Money for retail, Mirror Protocol for mirrored assets. All this is being built right now on Luna. All of this, okay? We're also talking about making a Luna starter, a Luna launchpad for projects here. Okay, no brainer. Hello, good morning.
And check out the chart. Can I have a look here? Look how Luna has absolutely done zero. This is the recovery from Kusama. Look how Luna has literally just stayed flat in this range. It hasn't even done any attempt yet from the big dip. That's $5.8, Rand. Would you have said that 3 months ago? That Luna would be anywhere near those prices?
You know what? Just for 2 seconds, just measure that accumulation and draw the accumulation upwards for me.
Well, it basically takes us straight to the top again. And that is huge for us to understand that takes us straight back.
I mean, you know what? The fundamental.
What is that percentage was? Let's have a look from that to that. 180%.
The fundamental approach was to say to you, look at the right protocols invest in the protocols, and invest in the best, most promising projects under the protocol. That's what the fundamental says. The technical say that right now, that same strategy will probably yield 3 times your money. I don't know. I mean, it's just too simple. If Bitcoin carries on running, this is it. You don't have to do anything else. You don't have to do anything else. You don't have to look for the next small cap gem. Just follow the strategy. It's so simple. Just follow the strategy.
100%. And that's beautiful. So I think the main topics today, guys, is obviously Bitcoin. Let's get that 40. We're going to get the pullback. We just need the last confirmation. Just get that chart, get that higher high. It's the first time since we've had this little bearish cycle we've been in. It will be the first higher high. So that will be a brilliant sign.
Catherine Ann. Roses are red, violets are blue. If I get into sniper school, I'll eat my shoe. I want to see her eat her shoe. So I think we should let her in on Monday. What do you think?
Let's do it.
Okay, so
bring your shoe. You and your shoe on Monday.
You're in for sniper school. You're in for sniper school on Monday.
Awesome, buddy. So Bitcoin, higher high. We are going strong. When we're going strong in this market now, guys, Kusama, big one, Dot, big one, Luna are the big ones now. We are going to be outside, having a look at the rest. I know Link's time to come. There's so many of them, and I think for now, not to go absolutely, because you know what happened the last 3 months ago when the bully cycle was going, people had crap tons of coins. They had so many coins. And I think now there's a big wake-up thing to say, let's get the ones that are really going to change this damn world. And I think to learn to just shrink so that it's a lot more easy to manage and a lot more to help us going forward. So I think those are the big ones today. You know, Dot is the one we're looking for the pullback. Obviously, my main concern is Bitcoin and Kusama. Kusama, we know, is already on. It's already has been disagreeing with Bitcoin the last 2 weeks already. It's been doing absolutely nothing that Bitcoin is doing.
I wouldn't buy Kusama now. Don't buy Kusama now. Kusama's had a run. Wait for the retest. Don't buy it.
Yeah, retest. No, retest. So only if we can get it back at the 430, 440, that's a good special. That means we're still in the region of here, and that's still a good 12, 15% down from where we are now. Of course, we're only going to buy it if it's great entries. We're not FOMOs here. We don't just get in at any point. So Kusama's one to add on the chart, not on the chart, on your board of coins that you want. We're just waiting for the spot on entry to get that one. There we go. Beautifully placed set there. And obviously we have Solana and we got Dot, which for investors, for any guys, it's great to be laddering in on all these dips right now. And as we progress. So I think it was a good show today, Rand. Before we can, there's charts and there's a time's going to come where the trades are going absolutely berserk again. I think it's just getting a good understanding, re-wrapping up, getting ready for this. Is this happening? Are we finally there? Can we finally start getting back into the momentum again? And I think our mindset, the amount we've learned in the last 2 months have been spectacular, and the amount we've actually started to grow. So I think the next run and the next time we start really, we are going to handle and run this so much better. We're more experienced. Our resumes are more filled up. And I'm excited, buddy. I know you are as well.
I'm excited. Listen, I'm glad I woke up at 4:45 to be here. I think it's been, I must say, doing shows are cool, but doing a show together with you is absolutely unbelievable. Had an amazing time. I also see that my battery is running out. So let me just plug myself in so we do get some power here. Okay, there we go. I'm back and I'm plugged in. We'll see you later on at the 10 o'clock.
Yeah. As we close off here, Rand, just last thoughts. What's your thoughts on Theta and T-Fuel, buddy? Because these coins are, the Theta, obviously the staking starts and there's a lot of things. What are your thoughts on them for part of your portfolio, or what are your thoughts on Theta and T-Fuel?
So, how do I say this? I love the concept of what Theta is doing. But a safer bet for me is the protocols. So Theta may or may not disrupt YouTube, may or may not disrupt decentralized video. It may or may not do that. But the one guarantee that I have is that these base layer protocols, Solana, Polkadot, Kusama, they will disrupt something. It may be video, it may be sports betting, it may be decentralized finance, it may be NFTs. I don't know what they're going to disrupt, but I know they're definitely going to disrupt something or many things. Whereas with Theta, I think it's a single bet. Are they going to manage to disrupt the video providers? So for me, it's not part of my core portfolio. I'll be very honest. I think it's a great token. And we've had them on the show. I like what they're doing. But it's not as much of a no-brainer as Solana, Polkadot, Kusama. And then it's not as much of a no-brainer as the winning DEX. And for me, you know, David, our analyst, just wrote a report. This is why I'm so excited about this. Is he identified, he called the report the next 1000x narrative. And he kind of, in his report, what he said was, he said, people are not looking forward into the next 1000x narrative. And the next 1000x narrative is DEXs, which are built on Substrate, which are built on Polkadot and Kusama. Like, people are just not like, where's the excitement? And he broke it down, and we'll get him on the show. That for me is a much better bet than going into sector, which is disruption on one thing, video.
So, you know what I think then, to narrow it down, it's not a huge part of the portfolio. It's a good coin. So I think a smaller part and some holdings on the side, cool. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's got a future. Let's see what it does. Maybe it blows our minds at a later stage. So it's not a main core one, but it's a good. I was just having a look because T-Fuel's been blowing my mind. The coin's just been. T-Fuel
always, Theta always moves up when Bitcoin moves down. It's a phenomenon that's been happening for as long as I can remember. T-Fuel, Bitcoin down, T-Fuel up, Bitcoin down, T-Fuel up, Bitcoin down, up.
It's crazy, yeah.
Crazy stuff. Listen, brother, much love for you.
Let's do it, buddy.
So good to be back with you, man. So good to be back.
Awesome, I'm excited.
And so good to have our man, Freddie.
Freddie.
Yeah.
What's up?
Good to have you guys back, man. What's up?
Freddie, how is Nigel Sellers?
He's getting there. He's getting there. It's been volatile. It's been a very volatile week, but he's making lots of baby steps in the right direction. And I think, you know, one thing we've had to realize as a family is that it's a long road ahead, and we've got to be very patient. But yeah, he's getting there. I appreciate all the wishes and prayers. It all helps. So yeah,
to get the man through.
Thanks, guys.
All right, kids. Lots of love to everyone. Sheldon, see you later. A big show later. Yeah, until then, guys, if you're trading, trade well, my friends.
Crypto Banter is a social podcast for entertainment purposes only. All opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers should not be construed as financial advice. Views expressed by guests and hosts do not reflect the views of the station. Listeners are encouraged to do their own research.